Howdy folks, this is Brian, and here's some advice. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage of choice, and let's get started. This letter is a follow-up from last week where the dad actually cut her hair without asking. I just wanted to cover this one because people seemed interested, and also it really kind of highlights how manipulative this father can be. Hopefully you enjoy this story, and here we go. Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Hiding My Feminine Issues from My Dad? And this is from Kiko speaking. I'm a 20-year-old female, and I'm currently living at home with my parents, and I'm very grateful that they continue to house and support me. I inherited a lot of my mom's medical conditions. I won't get into the nitty-gritties, but the too long didn't read is that I have incredibly painful 7 to 10 day long periods. When I was younger, 12ish, the combination of back pain, nausea, headaches, and cramps was so overwhelming that I could barely move and often had to stay home from school. Around the age of 16, I got to a point where I could muscle through the periods, but I still was in a lot of pain. It wasn't uncommon for me to cry as soon as I got home from class because of how sore and exhausted I was. My mom and brother, 23 male, have always been very sympathetic of this. Mom suffered from even more serious issues up until she had a hysterectomy, so my brother has always been a champ and supported us both. When he lived with us, it wasn't unusual for him to work out mom's neck when she was sore, or to watch a crappy Hallmark movie with me to take my mind off the pain. The problem has been keeping all of this from my dad. As someone who is squeamish myself, I totally understand the courtesy of not discussing bodily functions all the time, but this isn't that. I do my best not to show that I'm not feeling well around my dad, but he's pretty perceptive, and if he sees I'm uncomfortable, he asks about it. While I'm appreciative of that, if I mention that it's cramps or period related, even if I speak around it, he gets irritated and uncomfortable and walks off. This happens about once a month. This recently came to a head when he walked in on my mom and I discussing booking an appointment with my OB/GYN. When he heard that we were talking about it, he got upset and told us that we need to stop discussing our feminine issues around him because he didn't need to hear that. I thought it was unfair, seeing as how he walked into our conversation. I started to cry. Embarrassing, I know, but I was mortified that he'd say that, frustrated that he was making my mom and I's ongoing pain about him, and he begun to yell, which always makes me tear up. And he continued to get even more upset, accusing me of trying to guilt him with my tears and telling me I was just like his mother, who was an abusive, manipulative, which I had the misfortune of knowing her so I can confirm. I feel awful that I put my mom in the position and guilty that I made my dad uncomfortable. On one hand, I totally see how I would be bringing up the topic too often. I really do try to limit it. As I mentioned, I'm not a fan of blood/bodily fluids myself, so I get how it would be gross to hear about. On the other hand, I never mention anything outside of back pains, cramps, and nausea and try to keep it as not gross as possible. I also don't want to lie and tell him I'm not doing well when he asks me what's wrong. Am I the jerk? Our first comment is from Juicy Soup 6474. Not the jerk. Your dad is being the jerk, period. But really. These Walruses 2291 says, Yep, he's the jerk. He really needs to go with the flow more. Kiko speaking replies, Incredible, both of you already topped his dad jokes. How do your necks support those big brains of yours? Laughing my butt off. Appropriate Engine replies, Not the jerk. Your dad is a jerk here. You have a legit medical issue and you should not have to feel like you need to hide it from someone you live with, your parents no less, because they think it's icky. He needs to grow up. It's not okay that he called your feelings manipulative. I hope your OB/GYN is able to help. For what it's worth, I use Marinia to stop my heavy and painful periods and I love it. Shenza replies, You are definitely not the jerk. Do not be period shamed. This is a normal part of female life. It's nothing to be squeamish about. You're not talking about the color and texture of your blood. You're talking about the pain you're in. He should be mature enough to deal with this. I feel sorry for your mom if he treated her the same way during her problems. As someone who is currently undergoing investigation for endometriosis, I wish you all the best. Hi, OP. You are most certainly not the jerk. Your dad needs to grow up. If he asks you what's wrong and then he doesn't like the answer, that's on him and not you. To make matters worse here, this is happening on what sounds like a monthly basis. I can understand him being uncomfortable talking to his daughter about her period, but he doesn't have to engage in a conversation with you about this. Instead, he could say, I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. Is there anything I can do to help? Instead of running away and getting mad at you. Periods are a part of life and half the population has them. They aren't something to be ashamed of or hide. Further, talking about your periods and your OBGYN appointment was both necessary and important. He could have simply said, "Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt your conversation," and then left. That was the appropriate response, not berating you because he was uncomfortable. Your dad is the manipulator, not you. He's the one who's guilting you into feeling bad for discussing something because he is too frail to handle the truth. I suggest that you and your mother hold an intervention for him and suggest that he seeks therapy. This isn't normal behavior, and he has some issues to work out. Anyhow, good luck. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Asking My Girlfriend to Stop Using Her Body Pillow? And this is from Throwaway Zip. Okay, so my girlfriend moved in with me at the beginning of the pandemic. We've been dating for about 6 months, but her lease was up and it just made sense. Anyway, when she moved in, she brought this 5-foot long body pillow that she insists on sleeping with every night. It kind of makes me mad because we'll be cuddling and then she'll turn away and wrap herself around this pillow and I'm literally right there trying to snuggle. Not even asleep yet. It's been bothering me for a while because it feels insulting. Like she doesn't even want to fall asleep in my arms. I've never dated a girl who didn't want to cuddle all the night and I'm confused. Anyways, this morning I asked her to stop using the body pillow and just cuddle with me instead, and she said no because it helps her back and she gets too sweaty cuddling with me all night. That really hurt my feelings and I called BS on it helping her back. It's a pillow. She said I was overreacting and I told her that if she thought so, then she could be sleeping in the guest room instead because I'm not about to get rejected every night for a pillow. We kept fighting for a little while, but she's been giving me the cold shoulder for a couple hours now. I'm starting to feel bad, like I should have just dealt with it, but I'm tired of being rejected every single night. So seriously, am I the jerk? Edit. So I went to apologize and found her packing her bags. I begged her to stay and honestly lost my temper because she's leaving me over a dumb fight over a pillow. So all of you who called me controlling got your way. She's at her sister's now. Thanks. Little Gremlin Sparky replies, You're the jerk. Men are warmer than women naturally. You're a human heater. It's extremely uncomfortable to cuddle all night. Also, she's probably slept with that thing for years. She's not rejecting you. She's trying to relax, and you're taking it as a rejection when it's actually her letting you into an extremely intimate part of her life. Jade Echo replies, I have a bad hip from being hit by a car as a pedestrian. A pillow between my knees at night, I use a kind of sized pillow instead of a body pillow, elevates a lot of pressure off my joints and helps my back and hips tremendously. Also, and my husband is a freaking furnace when he sleeps. We do the same thing his girlfriend does, snuggle up a bit, get comfy and rested, then drift to our separate sides of the beds for the rest of the night. The most concerning thing said in his post to me is being rejected for a pillow. How insecure does one have to be to feel rejected because of a pillow? OP, you're a jerk. You need to do a little bit of self-reflecting and let your girlfriend sleep in a way that doesn't cause her pain and discomfort. Natch Case replies, The most concerning thing in this post to me is about being rejected for a pillow. How insecure does one have to be to feel rejected because of a pillow? Yeah, he didn't give his age, but he sounds young. My dude, if you want to be intimate, say so. She isn't rejecting you for a pillow, she's trying to sleep. If you want to either snuggle up for a bit before falling asleep or do something intimate, use your words and talk to her about it. Han Lu replies, You're the jerk, jealous of a pillow. It's not personal, it's just comfortable for her. Pure Champs replies, You're the jerk. I've been with the same person for 5 years. We've lived together for more than half that time. And I've never ever, quote, fell asleep in his arms. It's uncomfortable for me and I don't like it. Your girlfriend can sleep in the way she wants and it shouldn't be insulting to you. Hi OP, I understand your disappointment and dissatisfaction with the situation, though I think your perception of the situation is incredibly skewed. You had a close enough relationship that you two decided to move in together. Part of moving in with someone is learning how to get along with them and their habits. When you confronted her and you asked her to stop using the pillow, this wasn't an unreasonable request. When you rejected her reason for using the pillow and told her to sleep in the guest room, you became the jerk. Here's the thing, if this is a deal breaker for you, then that's your decision. However, you cannot force another person to behave in a certain way, and you need to give them space and time to make a decision. In the end, she didn't reject you or leave you for a pillow. She left you because you were acting unreasonable and controlling. Take this as a life lesson, work with your partner, and don't try to control them. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not doing anything after my daughter shaved her eyebrow? And this is from Am I a Jerk? Eyebrow Throwaway. I can't believe I'm writing this. My daughter is basically an adult. She's 18, about to go to college, and she's apparently shaved her eyebrow. From what I could gather, she tried to shave the part in which her eyebrows started to connect. She sort of had a unibrow. Then the actual razor was too large, so she shaved a decent part of her eyebrow. She then decided to make it symmetric, because why not? So about 75% of her eyebrow is now in the sink. She's crying. I really don't know what to do. Beauty parlors are closed because they're not essential services. I just said to her, I can't fix fix this mistake and that she needs to solve it herself. My wife is now calling me a jerk for not even trying to help her. So am I a jerk? Loader replies, not the jerk. You'd probably make it worse, not knowing what you're doing. You could shave yours in solidarity, though. Shroud the crowd replies, seriously, just advise your daughter to put down the razor, and when they grow back, introduce her to tweezers, not the jerk. Machant replies, info, by not doing anything, does this mean that you left your wife to deal with a hysterical daughter? Often people don't expect a solution, just comfort. It sounds to me like you're being accused of being uncaring, not an expert in beauty solutions. Body by Art replies, yeah, it sounds like he was just like, LOL, you're dumb. Helping could have literally been, it's going to be okay, they'll grow in, you're stuck in the house anyways, draw them on. Body by Art replies, I'm gonna say you're the jerk. It sounds like your daughter was really upset and you just kind of checked out. I don't think anyone is expecting you to make them magically grow back, but your wife probably expects you to comfort your crying daughter. Helping probably didn't mean fixing it, but telling your daughter, hey, it's gonna be okay. Also, I'd like to point out that it's very possible that the reason why your daughter is so upset is due to how much everything is changing right now. 18 is such a big year for most people. You're either graduating high school, in your first year of college, getting into working as an adult. It's a lot to figure out and deal with on its own, and bring so many changes on its own. But this isn't an ordinary year. To add all of that to a global crisis, and have most of those things ripped away just as you're starting to get it figured out, is rough. Be kind. Hi OP, I'm going to have to say that you're ever so slightly the jerk. When your daughter came to you with her problem, she probably just wanted to be comforted. She probably wasn't expecting you to make her eyebrows grow back. I get where you're coming from because when someone tells me about a problem, I immediately go into problem-solving mode. So I'm as guilty of this as you are. Just keep in mind that sometimes the best solution that you can offer is a hug, a shoulder to cry on, and a listening ear. Our final letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling Animal Control and Having My Sister's Dog Taken Away? And this is by Huckleberry Resident. Hello all. I am a 22-year-old female and I'm super allergic to dogs, like oatmeal baths and peeling skin days later allergic. My sister 24 knows this, and yet constantly asks me to dog sit her little Cujo, a 4-ish-year-old border collie. I always say no. Well, today she asks and I say no, and I think it's the end of it. Nope. 1 hour later, I hear my front door open, close, and a car drive off. I go to see what's happening, and there's Cujo, completely tearing apart my mudroom. So he's essentially contained in this room, where you're meant to take off your coats, shoes, umbrellas, blah blah blah, before you get into the house. The first door doesn't have a lock, it's kind of a screen, and the second door that leads to my house does. She leaves him in between these two. I immediately call my sister, who says she needed to leave him with me for a week, and that I can just put him in the backyard and feed him once a day. And she didn't even leave any food. I tell her that she has 30 minutes to come back to get her dog or I'm calling animal control. She says that she's on her way out of town on a bus and can't make it. I just hang up. 30 minutes later, no sister. I call animal control and they take away Cujo. He has wrecked my entire mudroom, probably 5 pairs of shoes, a couple of jackets, and an antique bench thing. My sister calls about 3 hours later to ask about the dog, who is obviously no longer there. I tell her as much and that she'll be paying me back for all the damage as well. She screams at me for a second before realizing that she needs to go get Cujo, and then hangs up and tries to get someone else to pick him up. The shelter has a 48-hour policy, so he could be adopted out if someone doesn't pick him up soon. She refuses to pay me back, and I'm honestly just thinking about cutting her off entirely. Am I the jerk? Unsightly Fuzz replies, not the jerk. And what entitlement? After you say no repeatedly, she dumps the dog on you for a week. She's not going to reimburse you for the damages. Go ahead and cut her off. She's such a jerk. Ollie Mack replies, not the jerk. Please cut your sister off. And you did the poor dog a favor if he can get adopted by a responsible dog owner. Border collies are very intelligent and active working dogs who need a lot of training and stimulation. It's not its fault it tore apart your belongings. It should have been trained years ago. And to drop a dog off for a week with no food, no toys, nothing? At a minimum, your sister is a neglectful idiot. Huckleberry Resident replies, I know, border collies are so intense, I couldn't exactly blame him for ripping up my stuff. I suspect that she left him with me because I'm the only one she knows with Yard. So Yard equals border collie friendly, I suppose, lol. Misty Day for President replies, I came here ready to call you a jerk, but you're not the jerk. You have every right to do this. This sounds so absurd, it's borderline unbelievable. Tree Pretty replies, not the jerk. Your sister shouldn't have a dog, and hopefully she doesn't get him back after abandoning him like that. Hi, OP. You never gave your sister any indication that you would be willing to watch her dog. For years, she has been asking you, and you always answer the same. Further, you have a medical condition that would prevent you from caring for the dog. Your sister was an irresponsible pet owner and didn't make appropriate plans for where to leave the pet when she went away for a week. Poor planning on her part does not constitute an emergency on your part. Further, she snuck into your house like a bandit and left her dog with you without saying a word. She wouldn't have crept into your home if she thought she was doing the right thing. Instead, she hoped that you would simply roll over and be a good boy for her. But alas, you had other plans. Take care and good luck. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Make sure to tune in next Monday at 1 p.m. Take care, and I'll see you all later.